Hey everybody, what's good? It's DREAMR. Today we're making some beats inspired by the one and only Polo G. We're going to be basing it off both the album's Hall of Fame and the GOAT. So let's go ahead, grab your guitar, and open your DAW. Let's go ahead, let's make some melodies. Let's make this beat. Okay, so before we get into making the beat, we're going to start off with the sample. I'm going to go ahead and play you the progressions and the lead licks here. Okay, so now that we've heard those, I'm going to go ahead and solo the chords and the lead here. And I'm just going to talk about choosing your leads and your top lines, playing them quarterly versus just playing the scale. So I like to do a bit of both. I like to mix them. So for the first half of this lead, I'm going to just be playing the scale, just G minor, and then I'm going to add the G minor 7 arpeggio right going into G minor 7 because it's going to sound really nice. It's going to flow when you play that same arpeggio over its designated chord. So I'll let you guys hear that right now. And here we go. Here's the arpeggio. And it ends right on there. Now, you can do this a lot. This also works when you're playing piano parts and everything. It's just a really good idea and something to just make you think a little bit more and mix it up when you're making your lead lines. So next, we're going to move on to this piano. All I have right now is an EQ on here, just cutting the lows, cutting the low mids, and cutting a little bit more mids. So I'm going to show you the MIDI right here. Now, I really like to have a slightly repetitive top line. I just think it works super well, and it kind of gives it that dissonant vibe when you have in the top line of your piano semitone type leads. So it just goes down one. It just makes it feel a little bit dissonant, a little bit more emotional, and I really dig that vibe. So also in your MIDI, try and include just little notes like here and here, just so it glides to the next one. Mess with the velocities, see what you can do, and just make sure it sounds as real as possible. So next we're going to go to my pad. Now this is from my Arcane Serum bank. This is a hyperpop Uzi type bank, but it's pads. They work on pretty much everything. So let's open this MIDI. Same MIDI as a piano. I'm just going to show you my EQ. Got a crazy low cut, got a crazy high cut. I really just want the mids for this one. And then we've got ourselves a classic 80s Valhalla verb. So I really like that. Gives me super tape cassette type energy on there. Let's go to the next one, which is an Analog Lab. This is the Ambi Horns preset. Another big low cut, another big high cut, and a big cut in these high mids right here, or more so regular mids, but in this case, higher mids for this EQ. Let's listen. Now I'm just gonna solo this part because if you hear this is why I got rid of it. It sounds really harsh and nasty. Now, that might not be bad if you have a little bit of it, which I do, but if you kind of want to have a more low, moody sounding pad, you really just kind of want to get rid of all those highs. And then next, I'm going to go down to the sub. I think this one is pretty fitting, just the root notes going for the bass. I kept the root here, didn't do any inversions, just because a lot of people don't really like that when they're using loops, and it's easier if you just put the root, so I'll let you listen. Shout out Synthetic for the sub, by the way. Next, we're going to go up to my favorite part of this little loop. So for this, it's the Arcade Bank vocode, and it's Awaken and Accept. I really like this bank just because I feel like we've all used the hook bank to death, and it's kind of cool just to try some different stuff. Still add a little bit of vocal stuff, but not overdo it like it has been for the past year or so. So on my chain for this, I've got halftime. I've got a volume gate, just because it's way more moody when you do that. I've got this EQ, cutting out all those lows, a bit of low mids. I've got it turned up a little bit. I've got the phone filter going just because I don't want it to interfere with anything else. Just got those mids boosted. I then have it pitched back up because remember, once you halftime something, it's going to go down in pitch, so you got to bring it back up. And then after that, I've just got a bit of a high cut. I debated keeping these two in, but I decided against it just because it was a bit too high pitched and a little bit piercing when you listen to it. And then in terms of my buses and sends on this, I've got a ping pong delay, which is what I use in pretty much every beat. And then I've got my Valhalla reverb that we've seen before, right here, just the 80s verb. Let's go ahead and give it a listen. So I really like this. It's not too aggressive. It's pretty subtle, to be honest, but with the volume gate, it kind of creeps up at the beginning and the end of the loop. So I think it fits really well. Let's hear it in context. So yeah, I personally really like that. It's not aggressive. It just sits there well. So on my master, I've got this FET compressor going. I chose a preset platinum analog tape, and then I just turned it down because it was boosting it really high. And I just went for some subtle compression just to kind of glue everything together. As you can see, it's not working that hard. Then we've got this EQ, just taking out some of the mud and the low mids, and a little bit of the higher mids. Then we've got RC20, vinyl 3, but noise turned off. Turn the wobble way down, magnetic down, just added the space and a little bit of tube distortion. And then after that, we've got this EQ, and this is just taking away some of those highs that were a bit piercing from the vocal chop. Okay, so now we got everything in a separate project. Let's roll. I just made this quick 808 pattern. I've got my compressor on it because it's a short spins. I've got overdrive going on buses 3 and 4, just a bit of distortion. And then I've got my overdrive right here, just doing a little bit of the top frequencies, just to kind of boost that little transient. And then I've got some R bass going, just to beef it up, and a little bit of Fat Effects, which is basically just the free Camel Crusher that comes with Logic. So let's pull it up, let's listen. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the 808 down a little bit. I'm going to go pull up. I'm going to grab my kick. Going to put that down here. And then I'm going to do my usual compressor. And I'm going to layer some R bass on there just to beef it up a little bit. Turn this down. Now I'm going to copy the MIDI that's holding Alt and dragging it up as Option Copy. And I'm going to take this and we're going to take this line, Alt down. We're just going to move them down to the same note. And I'm going to solo these two. I know the kick, when I open up an EQ, I know that it's hitting about 84, so I don't need to boost that. But what I need to do is, because I don't want to sidechain this because it's like a short 808, I'm going to go here and I'm going to find 84, or around that area, and I'm just going to go like this, just to let that kick peek through. There we go. That's sitting nicely. I like that. Let's bring the melody in. And then because the melody has a sub in it, I'm just going to low cut it so that sticks out even more. Let's go to about here. There we go. That's much cleaner. Now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add a rim. I was going to add a clap, but to be honest with you, I'm a bit tired of claps these days. I've abused the hell of them. They're in like 95% of my beats. So we're just going to pull this rim. Now I know this one's a lot of high end, so I'm just going to go like this, listen, and take some back. There we go. Now let's lay a quick part down for this. Nice. Hella delay on the recording right now, but we still managed to do it. Adding our ping pong delay. Sounds really nice. Sounds really nice. Let's go. Let's add some reverb. Maybe not that much. Let's turn it up a little bit. Let's go unsolo that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up a hi-hat MIDI for my hollow MIDI kit. Let's go with, I'm gonna say, let's go with this, and I'm just gonna take away, because I know these have a lot of rules and stuff in them. I'm just gonna simplify it down. So let's listen. I think that sounds good already. It's pretty simple. So I'm gonna bring this tom loop I've made previous. We're gonna go Command F, gonna put polyphonic, and we're just gonna flex that in time. Let me pull it down here. Oh, let's listen. Let's go here. Let's make them even more loud. So we want to go over here like this, I think is the one. There we go. I'm just going to take away that little dead space before on each one, pull them down. I'm going to pitch these up actually. And what I'm going to do with that one tom loop actually is I'm going to take my automation, hit A to open that window, and we're going to actually just pan it. So it's a little more interesting. We're just going to go like this. We're going to go like this. And we're just going to do that. Just go through. We're not going to follow the grid exactly because we want it to be a little different. Don't want it to be super quantized, but we're going to go close. We're going to go close. Let's take that, pull up each one, and it should sound pretty good. I'm just also going to add a bit of delay, just a touch, and a bit of reverb. And this is what we get. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and we're going to sequence this. I do want to just mess with this 808 pattern a little bit, so I'm just going to solo it. Just to add some variation for the second half. Let's do this. And let's copy the rest of this over. This one as well. And then now we're going to have a whole 16 bar loop. And I'm going to take this because this is our verse section. I'm going to cut it and we're going to move all of this down here. And now we get to build our intro. So for the intro, I think I'm just going to have all of this. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to take away that low cut because we want to have that sub in there. So let's give this a listen. You can throw some R bass on there just to accentuate the sub. There we go. And then I'm going to want to have those toms come in. So let me just copy these down. Intro. I think we'll be going to the beat. So we get to the verse, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to cut these until we hear that second clap, just right here. Just so we have a bit of space and you can tell when the verse is coming in. So let's listen. Gonna bring these toms in again. Hey everybody, just want to say a big thank you for sticking around this long. Let's get to that final beat. Hope you all enjoyed. Peace.